Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome back to the Black Carnivore live stream. I am excited to be here tonight. So it's just me tonight, and really looking forward to having this conversation. So go ahead and click the like button and subscribe so you can get notification every time I go live or post a new video. And make sure that you are here. So this is, so my channel is called Black Carnivore, and here I talk about all things to do with the carnivore diet. And I'm excited by how many new people there are who are giving this way of eating a try. So I just wanted to, just kind of talk about meat eating in general tonight. Of course, many of you are aware that, meat eating gets such a bad rap. We are told that, eating meat is really unhealthy. And a lot of times we see people who are, when they're unhealthy, the first thing that they think to do is to cut down the amount of meat they're eating. And that just does not work. It is, it is not, that is not necessarily the path to weight loss and health. It could be if you do certain things, but it is not just cutting out meat generally means that people increase more processed foods. And that just, it's kind of a recipe for disaster. So anyway, tonight I want to talk about if you eat meat, what are the foods that you should be pulling out of your diet in order to get healthier and to feel better? And I'd love to hear from you all too, like what you think, what things would be helpful for you to remove from your diet, and and how have you gone about doing that? So let's see. Welcome, everybody. I want to say hi. If you are here, go ahead and put something in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, and let's have a conversation tonight. So I don't want to just preach at you because I don't think that's as much fun, for you or for me. But okay. But so let's start with the very first thing that I think is most important to avoid, no matter what kind of diet you're doing, and that is seed oils. So let me know what you think about seed oils, and if that's something that you have cut out of your way of eating. So for me, it took a while to kind of learn about seed oils. When I first started keto, there really wasn't a lot of conversation about it. And what I was told and what I thought, the healthiest kind of fat to eat was olive oil. And so I actually bought a lot of olive oil, and I would try to get like, fancy stuff. So it was pretty expensive. And I ate a lot of olive oil. And now, in retrospect, I think I would have done so much better if I had been eating animal fats. Now, olive oil can be a better option, a better choice, but I don't know. I don't know. To me, I feel like at this point in time, there's so much adulterating of our food that's happening that I think unless you're, in the little town in Italy and you're seeing, the hand pressed or cold pressed olives being pressed and you're getting your bottle of oil from there, I'm not sure I believe that any of the oil that we are getting is 100% olive oil. I think a lot of it is probably cut with soybean oil, which is way cheaper, and and allows the product to be more accessible to to other people, to other countries, and to a larger part of the population. So that really has been a concern for me. And for me specifically, I am allergic to soy and corn. So I really, I think I really have a big reaction to those kinds of oils. So I just kind of gave up on olive oil, not certainly not, getting it at a restaurant or something like that. Because I think, it's like all, it's all soybean oil. So what do you guys think about that? Is that, something that you have thought about too? Hey, Phyllis, welcome from Florida. Awesome. Mandel, welcome. Time and toilet. Not quite sure what that's a reference to, but okay. Suwanlin, hey, welcome. Glad you are here. And Frequency Queen, nice. Hello. Mommy Does Keto, excellent. So yeah, Mommy Does Keto says seed oils are poison. I think so too. I think so too. Hey, Lisa, welcome. Um, Mandel says seed oils are great for concrete work. I put it on my hands and on my work boots. Yes, that is an excellent use for construction, for sure. Um, Sue Onlin says I cut out seed oils years ago. They started causing chest pains for me. Oh, that's interesting. So how were you able to like pinpoint that they were causing chest pains for you? Because once I started looking, actually, once I learned that I was allergic to soy and corn, and I actually really started looking at ingredients and trying to, make sure that I took those out, I realized how much, soy and corn oils are in everything. So it was really hard for me to then, I really kind of had to make a choice at a certain point whether I was going to try to get this all out of my diet or just kind of give up and take medication. And for a while, that's essentially what I did because it was just like, I can't, this is too hard. I can't figure all of this stuff out. And so I would be interested to see, kind of how you, worked that out. Hey, Truth, welcome. And Mommy Does Keto says, I get Portuguese olive oil, but rarely use it now. Yeah, so I love that you get Portuguese olive oil. And I also wonder like if the exports is different from what they sell in the country and, all of that. I'm such a conspiracy theorist though. So, yeah. Okay, Mommy Does Keto. Oh no, wait. Erica says, "What about the California olive oil? Heard that is the next best." Maybe I don't know. I mean, there's got to be. There was an expose a couple of years ago about olive oils not being most of them not being 100% olive oil. I've got to imagine there's some company that has tried to fill that void and, offer real certified 100% olive oil. But I don't know. So maybe in, California, certainly if you're not talking about imported, that's got to be the next best place to go. Hey, Heather G, welcome. So, and the reason why really speak about about seed oils, more generally. So, setting aside olive oil, that may be more okay for people to have. Although, if you're having it, of course, do not cook with it. It doesn't hold up to heat very well. So, if you're going to eat it, pour it on top of already cooked food. Don't try to fry anything in it at all. But going beyond that, the seed oils and the corn oil, rapeseed oil, all of those different kinds of oils they're very inflammatory, and I didn't really understand that in the beginning. Well, I guess when was still early on with doing keto, there started to be more talk about what kind of oil you ate and the problems with them. And, they talked a lot about them being very inflammatory. And once I started to take them out and really be careful that I wasn't eating them and was eating, and then really was making sure to eat more animal protein, I saw like a really big difference, and I noticed that if I would well, let's say even when I was eating on track, if I got like wings or something that was like, fried at a local restaurant or something, so it, wasn't Buffalo Wild Wings where they state that they fry in tallow, but just a regular restaurant, I would notice that my hands and the eczema on my hands would really flare up a lot. And I think, what is the problem? I'm just having wings. Like, is it the ranch or, blue cheese dipping sauce? Is it, the hot sauce? And now I know probably the ranch sauce is also all soybean oil. and then it's fried in soybean oil. So that both of those things were a problem for me. I wonder if the rest of you, experience that. Do you still eat food that is fried when you go out? Is that a problem for you, or do you struggle with that at all? I'd love to hear from you. Sue Onlin says it was not easy. I had to cut out a lot of. So, she's talking about identifying what foods were causing chest pains. And so she says it's not easy. I had to cut out a lot of foods before I figured out it was the soybean oil. Soy is unfortunately in everything. Yeah, so totally agree with you there. And yeah, that's really frustrating. Hey, Dee, welcome. Dee Jerome, welcome. I'm glad you are here. Yeah. So I think, yeah, if you are, even if you're eating a regular standard American diet, you will see so much benefit and reduction in inflammation and pain just by removing the seed oils. They seem to be that reactive for a lot of people. And so when you're in the keto and carnivore space, you generally see people are really trying not to eat seed oils. And so if you are new here and you've been sort of hearing that but didn't know why, this is why. And you definitely want to think about when you're buying foods that are fried out in a restaurant, you're probably encountering seed oils. And this is why I avoid mayonnaise. Now, some people seem to do okay with a little bit and they have their mayonnaise and from time to time, whereas others of us really can't. So if you have the ability to try and make the baconaise mayo that's made from bacon grease, you definitely do that. But if that doesn't work for you, I think there is one brand of mayo from Primal Kitchen, I think it's called, and they make it from avocado oil. So that's something to try as well if you really are missing, mayo. So Heather says she notices a lot of inflammation with oils, and Glenda usually gets McDonald's burgers when eating out. So that's a great point. Like so when you do eat out, the way that the food is cooked does matter. So if you can get something that is grilled, that's going to be hands down the best. When you're when you're eating at a fast food restaurant, I don't know if any of you all have read that book by Nina Teicholz, The Big Fat Surprise. I highly recommend it. It's an amazing book, and she did a ton of research, and there's really quality stuff in there. But she had a chapter talking about fast food restaurants, and so the thing about these seed oils is that they're also really unstable at high temperatures. So when you're doing a lot of frying using these kinds of fake oils, not only are they unhealthy in your food, but they create this particulate matter that gets all over everything. The walls, the cooktops, the uniforms of the people who work in the restaurants. And there are just lots of instances where a lot of times in these restaurants, they take the uniforms and they just send them to be cleaned to industrial washing, laundromats, whatever. And so what would happen though is that these clothes would like spontaneously combust in the dryers because they were hot and there were this particulate matter from the seed oils all over the uniforms. So so that stuff gets all over everything. So definitely if you can eat something that is grilled, that's going to be better. But I don't know, I think that stuff is kind of all over the place in the fast food restaurant. So do the best that you can. Getting the patties themselves from McDonald's is definitely going to be a better choice. And when you're out at, like regular restaurants, making sure, like asking, is the steak pan fried? Is it grilled? How is it prepared? And assert yourself, tell them, I want you to pan fry it in butter. I don't know what else you're using, but I want to make sure you're using butter. Or if you're getting scrambled eggs somewhere, like be really clear about how you want it cooked, because I think a lot of places are still, they still may be using margarine as well. I don't, I feel like that's still pretty common. When I was in college and grad school and, worked in those like places that, like little places that sold French fries and sandwiches and whatnot to college kids. I mean, there was always a big pat of margarine next to the grill, and, they would just throw that on and then cook whatever. So that, that stuff is all over the place. So I think you have to be really clear so people know, not to do that. And I noticed that, with the people that I work with in my coaching, that when they are coming in contact with a lot of seed oils, what usually happens is they get a lot of diarrhea, a lot of stomach upset, some inflammation, and generally just don't feel very good. So that is, that really is a big sign. Mandel says, I notice I just don't like seed oils. Years ago, when I would eat anything, seed oils tasted bad and they made me feel bad. I only used it for cake mix. Over a decade, just didn't like it. Hmm. Yeah, I can definitely smell them and taste them for sure. And this year, I went by a cousin to visit him after Christmas, no, after Thanksgiving, and he had deep fried a turkey, and so he offered me some of the leftovers, and I was gonna, and then I could already, even as he was pulling it out of the fridge, I could smell the oil that was used, and I was like, oh man, that is not gonna work out for me. So and I was like, no, no thanks. So to this day, still have not had fried turkey, but yeah, it wasn't gonna be good. Glenda, yes, I have seen Crisco in the stores. I don't know who's buying it, but I've seen it. They say new and improved, so I don't know if that means there's like a new formula or a new way that they make it, but yeah, it's still out there. And Mommy Does Keto says even the butter, the quote unquote butter at some restaurants isn't even butter. It tastes like it's mixed with shortening. I I totally believe that. I totally believe that. So I don't know. And D. Jerome says, been doing beef, butter, bacon, and eggs only all month. Oh, only beef, butter, bacon, and eggs all month. Lost 10 pounds so far. Before I ate all meats, but not eating chicken and pork seems to make a difference. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. So a lot of people do great, when they focus on beef, butter, and bacon and eggs. Beef is just extremely nutrient dense and it's really filling. People really do best. And when I put together a meal plan, I'd always tell people like um, you don't want to let a day go by without having beef. So if you're going to have, two meals in a day, one of them can be, chicken or whatever, some other thing, but then the other one has got to have some beef in it, so you don't want to have less than one beef meal in a day. And frankly, there's nothing wrong with having every meal be beef and then adding a side of, chicken or a side of pork or something like that to have that if you want to have that variety, but you're going to do better if it's beef or well, goat or lamb, if you can, if you have access to that, or if that's more accessible to you. Those are, um, equal in value and nutrient density, I should say. So let's see. Yeah, so, and that's awesome that you've lost 10 pounds in a month. A lot of people would love to see that kind of success, and I try to convince them that on carnivore you can have it, but people aren't ready to give it up. So, so the next thing that I think it's really important to pay attention to when you're eating meat is sugary sauces. Now, when I first started and went keto, I was like, oh, I love meat. I'm great with this. Beef and I mean, a bacon cheeseburger, and this is perfect. I'm happy to eat this. But when I first realized I couldn't have ketchup, it was like, whoa, wait, ketchup? No ketchup? And I then started realizing like all the sauces, that I went for. I guess I thought that I was like a savory person, a person who liked savory things, but I realized even with my meat, it was the sugar that I was looking for. So, when I used to use ketchup, I mean, I used a ton of it, a ton. Or it would sometimes be a treat to have barbecue sauce on my burger, which has twice as much ketchup, twice as much sugar as ketchup. So as much sugar as there is in ketchup, there's twice as much in most barbecue sauce. With the regular stuff that you buy in the store. So, and then, of course, at different burger places, in restaurants, they have like, their special sauce, which is, some variation of like French dressing, a mix of mayo and ketchup or maybe, adding relish or something like that as well. So, or Miracle Whip or whatever. Miracle Whip, of course, is mayo that has sugar added to it. So there are so many sugary sauces that we have with our meat that really, I mean, it's sort of surprising. I mean, I guess it's not surprising, but it was a surprise to me to learn how much sugar I was having, even when I thought I was eating non-sugary food. So that's something to really pay attention to, and it was hard for me in the beginning. Like the sauces is what made my meal a lot of times, and there was honey mustard things, and then with the salads there was with all the dressings it was like the balsamic vinaigrette, the raspberry reduction, the chutneys, whatever. All of it is just full of sugar. So pay attention to that and let me know what are some of your favorite sugary sauces that you have given up, and have you found substitutes? Now, some people can do the artificial sweetener. So like Hughes makes a barbecue sauce made with I think it's Splenda essentially, and that one I feel like tastes to me it tasted the most like regular barbecue sauce, but I still found myself instead of using, 1 or 2 tablespoons, like the serving says, I'm still using half the bottle. So, for me, like that sugary taste was just driving me to have more and more. So I really have to be careful about that. But let me know if you guys use the G Hughes or if you have another one that you use. But I think that, a lot of times with that sugary stuff, the sweetness kind of acts like a bomb in your mouth. And once you have something that tastes sweet, like it's hard to taste anything else. But when you don't have the sweet, then you can start to discern more taste. And really what is needed is more salt. And so when I, first did this and I took out all the ketchup, at first it was hard, but then I added more salt into the burger and it was like, oh, okay, that's really all that was missing. This is super flavorful, and as long as I can make the burger properly so it's not super dry, it's good. It doesn't need the ketchup. Sometimes we use the ketchup to like make up for like bad cooking. But if the burger is juicy and there's enough salt in it, it really, doesn't need the ketchup. It's okay. So let me know what you think. Oh, Mommy Does Keto says Primal Kitchen has unsweetened ketchup, and she adds liquid stevia to it for kids. Okay, so yeah, um, so that's definitely something you can try. Primal Kitchen has actually a lot of a lot of good keto slash carnivore friendly products. So definitely check that out. And let's see, Glenda says Sweet Baby Ray's is too good. Yes, it is so full of sugar, Sweet Baby Ray's. I think it is probably the most sugary barbecue sauce there is. So yeah, that's a challenge. Let's see. Mandel says allergy season. I ate a Bojangles kids meal and drank the regular, I guess a regular soda, biscuit, fries, Pepsi. Busy day, didn't pack. Pollen hit me so hard, never again. I don't do sauces, but buttery crackers, biscuits. Wow, yeah, Mandel, that meal must have really knocked you off hard because that would have been full of the seed oils, of course, full of carbs and sugar, and and the biscuits are definitely full of seed oils for sure. So that that must have been a rough day. I don't envy you. And Mandel says he butters his burger patties. Yeah. So Erica still wants or still uses Heinz 57 sauce, no substitute found yet. Okay, yeah. And D. Jerome says Primal Kitchen has barbecue sauce. On keto, I use tomato paste, smoke liquid. Oh, liquid smoke, vinegar, and a little monk fruit or stevia. Tastes exactly like regular BBQ sauce. Okay, all right. So that was really creative. I wouldn't have thought to make my own that way, but yeah, okay, yeah. So make sure you pay attention to your condiments. So if you're still keto or you're omnivore and you still like your meat and but you're looking to, level up your health, this is way number two. Take out the seed oils and then take out the sugary sauces and start learning to cook the meat a little better so it doesn't need any sauce. I mean, frankly, all of the concept of sauce, I mean, I guess that was like part of French cooking and it was meant to cover up not great meat. But when you got great meat, it can shine all by itself. Doesn't need anything else. Just put the salt on and let it go, and you'll really appreciate it. It'll be worth it. Pat says, just give me steak, ground beef, and butter, and I'm a happy camper. Absolutely. I 100% agree. And Truth says, working through 3 pounds of beef suet. I mainly use it to cook my eggs in. Nice. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, so I'm still working through the 10 pounds of beef fat trimmings that I got at my grocery store. So that is great, and I'm excited about it. Since I'm moving at the end of the month, I'm trying to finish it all before I go because probably going to have a couple of days where I'm sort of in transition and not someplace. So I won't be able to keep anything frozen. So yeah, so I'm eating it up. And oh, mommy does keto. Yes, absolutely. Raw egg yolk makes a great dipping sauce, and using it, with like beef fat or well, I guess bacon grease or some other kind of liquid fat. You can make something like a béarnaise or a hollandaise sauce or a mayo or an aioli, something with that sort of texture. So if you are so inclined, definitely it's worth playing around with it, and you can make some really nice fatty sauces. Um, so Pat says salt if my dipping sauce. And Heather says use smoked salt if you're feeling fancy. 100% agree. There are some really interesting fancy salts out there, so definitely give that a try. And yeah, and there's a code in the description of this video, so you can get 15% off at Redmond Sea Salt if you get their smoked salts, and those are amazing. Amazing. I gotta say, amazing. So definitely get those, and they're making them in much greater quantities now. So I don't think they're sold out anymore. But their first batch, they sold out so quickly, and they did not come back with it soon enough. Soon enough for my taste, anyway. So yeah, everybody definitely consider that. And then, so the next thing I wanted to cover is when you're out and eating meat, a lot of times, especially in the beginning, when you're not really thinking about it so much and you're not so used to the diet, like a lot of things seem like they're going to be fine and perfectly good, carnivore choices, and then they're not. So, there have been times when I've seen wings on the menu, and so I assume they were just wings, but they've come to me breaded and fried. And, and so it was kind of like, oh, what am I supposed to do this? And there was another time I saw fried pickles, and I don't know why I thought it was just going to be, I don't know, sauteed in a pan or deep fried, but they were breaded, and it was like, oh, what am I going to do with this? So you want to definitely pay attention again to how, how the meat is cooked, because things that are breaded and fried are, those are going to be a problem. They really, you're going to, of course, overstep your, your carbs for the day. So, it'll probably knock you out of ketosis, and you want to be in ketosis. Carnivore is beneficial both because, you're on a ketogenic diet, and then also you're removing things that are irritating to many of us. But you do need that part where you're in ketosis. So you want to be careful about things that come breaded. And there are things that have secret breading, so or things that you might not think about. So like meatloaf, or meatballs. So if you go out to a restaurant, you cannot assume that those are going to be safe to eat. I always like, I think it's called gyro or hero. When you go to one of those like Turkish or Middle Eastern restaurants, and they've got that meat that's on a stick, and it's been, circulating around, and it's cooking like that. I always thought that was, that was fine, but in many cases, it's got a lot of breading in it as well. So you can't assume that is going to be safe to eat. So you might want to stick to the kebabs that are from chunks of meat. And there are kebabs that are made of, ground meat with spices and stuff. Again, don't do that. You got to stick to the chunks of meat. Let's see. Heather G has been using fish sauce lately as dipping sauce. So yeah, that's totally a thing. So totally not for me, but I think there are various types of fermented fish paste and regular fish paste and paste that's made from like shrimp and other kind of stuff. So if you are okay, you don't have an issue with histamines because these fermented things are going to be old, or if you don't have a problem with shellfish, those can bring, a lot of depth of flavor to your meal. So you might want to consider those. Glenda, hot sauce. I think hot sauce is fine. So, I mean, it's got vinegar, and it's got, I guess it's cayenne, pepper in it, but I wouldn't use it all the time. But, I think it's fine for occasional. But I gotta say, my mouth has changed so much that even hot sauce, sometimes it's like, oh, this is just too much. It's just too much. Okay, mommy does keto, says, I don't know about eating out anymore. Wings, 25 minutes in the air fryer, boom, dinner is done. I know, right? Like, cooking is so much easier. And, when you're eating carnivore, and once you kind of get a rhythm and you learn how to cook, like, it's super simple. And the things that you can make at home taste so much better than what you can get out, So when I go out to eat, it's not like, um, I don't feel excited like I'm going to get something that I can't get at home. I kind of feel a little bit of dread, like, this is going to suck, and I'm going to feel a little less good, because I ate out. And so I went to the barbecue restaurant this weekend. I went to Dinosaur BBQ, and like, I couldn't believe how bad the brisket was. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was terrible. I didn't want to complain, and and I had specifically asked for them to give me a fatty meal, but it was terrible, terrible. The smoked pork belly was good, and so that I really enjoyed, and I had a brief thought of like ordering a portion to go, but then I didn't. But maybe I will go back and do that. I don't know, because it was pretty good. Um, my dog has asthma, and it's like coughing over here. So sorry about that if you can hear that. Uh, let's see. Truth says get the 10-pound bucket of Redmond sea salt. Save 50% buying in bulk. Yes, you can get a 10-pound bucket of salt. It probably will last, a year, not much longer than that. You do go through it pretty quick. Okay, Violety says tacos. I don't know if is that a good That can be a risky thing to get. I mean, of course, the tortillas is a problem, but yeah, there's all kinds of things that they put in tacos. So yeah. Bubble Girl Brenda Mann says Crisco is great for seasoning cast iron pans. Yes, indeed, that is a great industrial use for it. Arian says it really frustrates me that so many places have so much breading in their meatballs. Yeah, absolutely, and it's like it just doesn't need to be. Why? Why? Mustard. So I think mustard is okay. It's something I use from time to time, just to make sure it doesn't have any sweetener in it. Like I said, I bought, a fancy mustard not too long ago, and I, started eating it and realized it was sweet. And it had, when I looked in the ingredients, it had honey in it. And I was like, why? Why? It didn't say it on the front of the container, it just said mustard. And so, yeah, you gotta check your mustard. But yeah, mustard can be okay. It's not sweetened. Um, Mommy Does Keto says, yeah, you definitely can't trust meatballs unless you make them yourself. Crushed pork rinds mixed into the ground meat makes for some soft meatballs, let me tell you. Yeah, I can totally imagine that. I can see that entirely. I really like to mix the meat. So I think it tastes really good when you mix ground pork and ground beef together and in the meatball. And it can be, and that also gives it a nice texture. So definitely try that out. And in fact, I posted, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I highly recommend that you do. I'm at Black Carnivore, and in my story, I posted, somebody tagged me about they're selling ground meat. So it's a mixture of ground beef and ground pork that's already mixed together, and they're selling it. And this was like an ad for their sales. But I thought, oh, that's awesome. So nice that it's already done for you, and it's good to know that other people do it too. It's not just me. So it's good stuff. Um, Carrie L says, I've come to the conclusion that restaurants don't know anything about nutrition. They don't, but I don't know that they ever claim that they do. They know making food that tastes good to you, so you keep coming back. That's their job, and that's what they do. So yeah, we can't rely on them to give us give us good nutrition, give us food that we want, or that is healthy for us, unless we ask for it and are willing to pay for it. So that's why I think it is really important to when you go out to eat, talk to your server, tell them what you want and what you need, so that over time, if they start hearing this more and more, the restaurants will cater to it, because they want to make money, so they want to serve what the people want. So yeah, hopefully, if as we start asking for certain things, they ah, they sorry about that, guys, I'm really sorry. So but yeah, hopefully over time they start to change their offerings. um Douglas says I'm too far north. Yes, I am. I am too far north. But, we do have some barbecue places in New York that have managed to make a good brisket. I don't understand, what the deal was. And I said to the waiter, I want fatty brisket. And what came had no fat at all. I don't know if he thought I said I don't want fatty brisket, or he thought he said he must have heard me say it and then thought, oh, she made a mistake. She must have meant the opposite. I don't know. I don't know. So, oh, Arian says my meatballs are always too dense, so that should help. Yeah, that should definitely help. Also, when you're making your meatballs, don't do too much compression, because that's what makes them dense, and then they'll be dry and not good. You just want to barely cup them to make them round, and then put them in the air fryer. Don't manipulate and touch them a lot, because that's what makes them not so great. But the pork rinds are definitely a game changer. Carrie says, I hate cooking, but I've come to accept this is a new way for me. I totally hear you. A lot of us are not cookers. I'm not a natural cook. I'm not a person that enjoys being in the kitchen. It does not give me great pleasure to, to create like various dishes. Um, but I like to eat. I like to eat, things that I think taste good and are healthy. So that's kind of, if I had to resign myself to not only to cooking, but to learning to cook and learning things that were difficult or outside my comfort zone. I think for most of us, like the easiest thing to do is to, cut up the chicken breast into some strips and, stir fry it with some vegetables and some kind of, marinade or sauce and, and think, I've, created this delightful dish. But, I never really consider that real cooking. That was like the easy stuff. But like, to make a pot roast, I considered that like magic. I had no idea how one would do that. So I really had to make a concerted effort to learn these various cooking methods and to really figure it out. And I'm excited now that I'm moving to a place. My cousin has a big backyard, and I am so excited to get a smoker at some point and actually learn like how to smoke food and meat and how to grill. And like that's a whole new thing that's opening up for me. No idea how to do it, but there's YouTube University and a lot of you all. So I expect to get a lot of, get a lot of, get a lot of advice. I'm going to ask a ton of questions, get a lot of advice, and hopefully, learn this new way of cooking. But even though I don't like to do it, like the payoff, the benefit of figuring that stuff out it is pretty big. It really is. And now that if I can get smoked pork belly, like as good or better than what I can get in a restaurant, oh my God, I'm never going to eat anything else. Like I'm going to eat that for months straight. So I don't know. So it's worth it. It definitely is worth it. Okay, Scoutmaster Tam says some mustard can have seed oil. Always check the ingredients. Okay, see, but this is like my thing. Like, why would you ruin a perfectly good, safe food with seed oil? Like, I didn't even know that there was oil in mustard. Why does there need to be oil in mustard? It just needs to be some vinegar and some mustard seeds. Like, that is just astounding to me. So, thank you. Thank you, Scoutmaster Tam, for letting us know. And yeah, now I'm going to be on the lookout for that. So, did not even know that was a possibility. Just like I didn't know there would be honey in mustard that is not called honey mustard mustard. Um, okay, so Carrie L says, unfortunately, a lot of people don't know what they want when it comes to food. They just want it to taste good. And I don't even know that we want it to taste good. I think we just want it to taste sweet. I realize there are so many things that I like to eat that the reason I liked them was because they were sweet. That was it. I remember the first time I went to PF Chang's, and it was like there was some dish that I had that it was like, it was like angel singing. It was so amazing. But now in retrospect, I know it was because it was sweet. It was like fried beef that was sweet. And and that's it. When I would get Chinese food here in New York, like my favorite things was always like the I guess it was orange beef. So or no, what am I saying? General Tso's chicken, which is chunks of chicken deep fried with like this orange sweet sauce on it. You know, sweet and sour, what was it? Sweet and sour wontons. Again, just deep fried dough with a little bit of meat in the center and, and a sauce that was sweet. So, yeah. Um, and let's see, Redmond smoked salt. Yeah, Bubble Girl, Brenda Mann, definitely get yourself some of that. Yeah. So, and what are your favorite cooking methods? So, I think that when you do come to eat this way, you really do benefit by investing a little bit of money in getting quality cooking instruments that will help you to cook easily and quickly. So go ahead and invest in the Instant Pot. Invest in a good quality air fryer. Um, maybe try a sous vide if you're into that, or get a crock pot if you like that. Go ahead and try like the different time saving devices, because that will really help you a lot and make this a lot easier. And I like to get the cooking method where, it's low and slow, and I can just put it in the oven, and then I don't do anything until, it's done. So recently I've been cooking pork butt, and that is one where I cook it really on a very low temperature, and it gets to be very, very moist and just delicious, but it takes a long time. And so, it's more or less all day. Or if I have a 3 or 4 pound pork butt, I would put that in overnight, so just before bed, and then it's ready by breakfast. So, yeah. Carrie L says, I was a sugar addict before my heart attack. I had no choice for my new path. I had no choice for my new path in life. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of us, that's what happens, that we have to make this dramatic change because of a very big health event. And, that sucks. And I'm sorry, that happened to you. But for those of you who are listening, who still have a little time, who haven't yet had, a major life-changing health event, like now is the time to get started on this and to try something new and try something different and really really try to work on your health. Meat eating is good for you. Like there's a lot of benefit to eating meat. It's not just protein. There's all kinds of vitamins and minerals in meat. There's fat in meat. And fat itself is not just calories. It's got its own vitamins and minerals that are in it, that are delivered to us through eating meat. So it is not this just sort of empty container that gives you, generic protein and generic calories. It is very nutrient dense. So I think that you can do great if you want to go all the way carnivore and eat that way. That's awesome. If you don't want to, that's okay. Just start by making meat the center of your diet, and you can add other things. But make sure that you're removing some of the things that can be most harmful. So, like we said, the seed oils, definitely, that's going to be a problem for everybody. Taking out the sugary sauces, the sugary stuff, definitely take that out, and be careful of the breading, the hidden carbs that are in different places. And then once you start doing that, you'll start to see, you're going to drop a couple pounds, you're going to you're going to feel better. And then you might start to think about, do I want to go, low carb? Do I want to go keto? Do I want to try this, this carnivore thing? I definitely think you should give carnivore a try, but not everybody wants to stay there, and that's totally fine. You've got to find the path that's going to work for you to get to your ultimate health goals. So, so I do a lot of coaching with people who are really sick. And if you're in that, position, and you want to work quickly and really want to target your health and turn things around before it's too late, definitely reach out to me. We can use a strict carnivore diet to really launch your health forward, and your healing forward very, very quickly, and then help you to set up I want to help you to set up a lifestyle that where carnivore fits in very easily and seamlessly. I hate to see people struggle, and of course, in this community, we're very open, and we're trying to be understanding of where everybody is, because I don't want you to come here and kind of hear, no, that's not carnivore, that's not carnivore. It's not about that. It's about you getting healthy as quickly as possible. And there's certain ways that are going to get you there faster. But, if being super strict makes it more likely that you're going to just cheat and fall off and, go, days in and out of being on carnivore, then, we got to find something else for you that's more sustainable and will help you go in the help you be more consistent in the long run, because that is what is going to help you ultimately achieve your goals. Like for most of us, like we're talking about a marathon here. This is not a sprint. If you have been, obese a long time, if you have been diabetic a long time, if you have been dealing with hyperinsulinemia for a long time or other kind of autoimmune diseases, these are things that you're going to see, a lot of improvement pretty quickly. But, the massive long-term healing, that's going to take time, and weight loss takes time. There's no question about it. And in fact, it seems like the body very often is like, finally, we're eating well and we're not poisoning ourselves. Let's just do all of this healing and fixing and all of these things first, and then we'll deal with the weight loss later. So, that part may not go at quite the speed that you want, but there you go. Let's see. Okay, Mommy Does Keto says pork butt. Just bought a bunch at 99 cents a pound. Oh my God. Oh my God. I saw it for $6.99 a pound, and I was like, score! It's so cheap. Oh my God. 99 cents a pound. Oh, yeah, I got to get out of the city. Steve, Global Traveler, thank you so much for the super chat. 19.99. That is so awesome. So, as all of you know, like I really want to make sure to continue to provide content that is free and that is supportive and helpful for you all, and allows you to be inspired and to learn and to continue on in this lifestyle. So when you all make contributions, when you buy a super chat or the super stickers, that helps me so much, and I really appreciate it. And I always want to keep this content free and available to everybody. So thank you. So Steve says, greeting from Korea. A great discussion as always. Thank you. Yeah, and you appreciate the fit for purpose message. Yes, absolutely. We there's no glory, there's no benefit in being the most carnivore. There's no carnivore queen, there's no carnivore prize. The prize is your health. So, we just have to make things work for you. So, Mommy Does Keto says each pork butt was less than $9. Between that and the ribeye on sale for $6.99 a pound, my freezer is full. Oh, lucky lady, lucky lady. So I also wanted to remind you guys to watch this week's video, Carnivore Diet for Young Adults. So the previous week I did carnivore diets for seniors, and now we have the carnivore diets for young adults. And then, of course, we have lots of different stories of the carnivore diet for, men and women of varying ages. But I wanted to I kind of wanted to make sure I did something like that, had both age groups, because I don't know that, we're always talking about those age groups, but I want people to know that this way of eating is appropriate for, every age in the life cycle. So I loved to see that Jafari was taking his health so seriously and eating in a way that's so different from everybody else, but, really helped him to feel better. And, he obviously was physically, he wasn't overweight. He hadn't been overweight even as a vegan, but, there were significant like physical improvements, and then also, his mental improvements. And I think about like if I had been when I was in school, oh my God, like how often I couldn't get up in the morning. I was sleepy in the afternoon, because I would eat like all kinds of dinner and whatnot, at lunch, or desserts and whatnot at lunch. And then, the class or two after lunch, I'd be nodding off in class. And, so how much did I miss from the sugar overload? And, and how much did I just not being able to concentrate and focus in the way that I can now. It's like, I could have done so much better in school. Or school could have been so much more fun and exciting if I had really felt a lot better. So I love to see a young person who is trying to eat this way, and I hope, I don't know what it's like at your households. Are the kids or the young people, are they willing to eat this way? Have you been able to get your kids to focus on this? Or are they only eating carnivore at home and then they're eating other things out? It I think it would be, it would just be so awesome to see, some young people really embrace this and do this. But it's hard. I don't know that I could have done it. I don't know. Okay, Steve Glover Traveler said, as I said before, I can spend $200 on blood pressure meds or spend 19.99 and support our community. Easy choice. 100%. Yes, absolutely. I actually was thinking I probably need to do like a show on what is the real cost of eating like the standard American diet, and what does that really look like? Because I think about my medicine cabinet. Monthly I was going through so much Benadryl and Claritin and Flonase and Mucinex, and I would get like vitamin C, this emergency, and so just thinking about that, how much money I was spending on that, and then thinking about like tissues that I was buying because it was constantly blowing my nose, or uh, yeah, clothes I was getting because I was gaining weight, eating, the standard American diet, and just generally not feeling my best, or being able to perform well. How many sick days was I out? How many times did I, miss work or miss opportunities because I wasn't feeling well? All of that like is quantifiable, and I'm really curious for all of you, like how much money do you think you were spending, in a week, in a month, um, on your illnesses before you went carnivore? So yeah, like Steve said, like when I shop, I mean, I a little bit bulk at the cost of meat, but also I remind myself like I could be spending so much more money on a lot of other wasteful stuff. Oh, and of course the alcohol, that was its own budget line in itself, because yeah, there was a lot of that. So yeah, so it's so much better to eat this way, and go ahead and spend a little money. Like, it's okay. It is okay. Carrie says, carnivore does make you feel younger if you add exercise with the diet. Good muscle gains at age 60 and can exercise longer. Yes, that's what I want to hear. That is what I want to hear. Sue Onlin says, my youngest is 16 and he's eating carnivore with me. Awesome. Awesome. So tell us what things are you noticing with him? Like, is he doing better in school? Does he have more energy? Sleep changed? Is his mood changed? I think about like how moody and awful I was as a teenager. And now I think, God, how much of that was like just, being hungry and having wackadoo blood sugar, I don't know. Maybe I would have been a nicer teenager if I had been eating more meat. Yeah, and less junk. Heather says, I saw Tuesday's interview. He was great. I just wish I knew this information when I was his age. Yeah, definitely. Mommy Does Keto says, my kids eat properly at home and take their lunch from home as well. The dang teachers, though, hand out candy as rewards and then the birthdays at school. Oh, yeah, yeah. I feel like that is kind of new at school, though, because when I was a kid, there were definitely teachers were not handing out candy as rewards. Maybe a gold star, but you know, I don't know. Maybe those are the bad old days of Gen X. But now, Now it's a different story. And there would occasionally be a bake sale at school, but if I didn't have money, then no bake sale. I didn't get to buy anything. Um, let's see. Terry says, "Hey, y'all, found ribeyes for $6 a pound at Save a Lot. Not grass fed, but reasonably priced." Awesome! Congrats. Nice. That's a good score. And Steve says, "You go, Carrie. I'm 65 and healthier than when I was 30." Yeah, I think all of us feel that. Once you get going on carnivore, yes, I absolutely feel healthier now than I did a decade ago. And I hope that continues on. And I feel like, I mean, to read old accounts of, people's aging when people weren't eating so much, processed and artificial foods, like you should be able to go quite some time before you start to feel things breaking down. So you should be able to get through your 60s still feeling pretty good. um and hopefully 70s are pretty good as well. I gotta say, one time I was when I was running for city council in 2017, I was doing a lot of door knocking, and there's a building that had a lot of apartments in it. So I was door knocking there, and usually we have a list, and I have the name of the registered voter and their age, and I think maybe their race as well. And so usually I kind of know who's going to come to the door, or if no one answers, I look up and down the hallway, and if somebody's coming off the elevator, I can kind of guess if they might be the person that I was looking for. So I, knocked on this door, and I was looking for a woman. I forget her name. Maybe it was like Barbara, and she was 85. So I, had a picture in my head of what the woman was going to be, and no one answered. So I turned to walk down the hallway, and then the elevator door opened, and this woman walks out, and she's wearing jeans and a white shirt, and like a Oxford button-down shirt. And she was carrying some groceries, and she was just sort of striding down the hallway carrying these grocery bags. And so she started to come towards that door, and I was like, "That's weird. That can't be Barbara. Maybe this is Barbara's daughter or something." And so I said, "Oh, I'm looking for Barbara so and so. Do you know if she's home?" And she was like, "I'm Barbara." And I was like, uh, "No, I mean the Barbara who lives here, who's 85." And she's like, "Yes, that's me." And I was like, so flabbergasted. And it was really because normally when I see an 85-year-old person, usually they walk with a lack of surety, not a lot of strength. But this woman was carrying bags and was striding down the hallway with a level of strength that I was like, that's the 85 that I want. Not unsure in my step, not weak in my steps, but strong. And she just looked strong. So I'm sure I was very insulting to her. Tried to be polite, tried to recover from that, but I just wanted to be like, "Man, you look great. I don't know what you're doing, but that's exactly what I want." So anyway, that's my story. And I think that probably comes from, being very physically active, and, maybe being one of those people who lifts weights, like, that Ernestine Shepherd woman who, won all of those awards at like 70 something. I think you do have to keep that muscle on. That's what's going to keep you, feeling balanced and strong. So I don't know. Um, let's see. Mommy Does Keto says the school nurse gave my 9 and 7-year-old Skittles for her sore throat from allergies. Oh my God, that's just the worst. Um, Virgo Lady says, "Oh, I wasn't notified of the live. I shared Tuesday's interview with my 15-year-old and 18-year-old goddaughters." Okay, that's awesome. I'm so glad you shared it with them. If you click the little bell icon, if you subscribe to me and click the little bell icon, you should hopefully get notified. But YouTube does what it does. But hopefully it will do that. Heather G, none of your teachers handed out candy either. Yeah, that must be like a new thing. Oh yeah, Johnny G, I remember scratch and sniff just Snickers. Yeah, that was totally a thing. Um, all right, so Anlin says, homeschooled and doing much better. He pays attention more, which is great. Oh, so this is your son who's eating carnivore. He still sleeps the majority of the day and is up all night though. Oh no. And you don't think you'll ever change that with him. Yeah, some of us are night owls and some of us are morning birds. So I don't know. Carrie L says, I personally find it beneficial to keep up on my electrolytes because of exercising. And most of the time I am OMAD or 2MAD if a heavy exercise day. Yeah. So, you may always need to have a lot more electrolytes than you used to. And, so you just kind of got to roll with it. Nobody, everybody's a little bit different and how much people need. It varies. It also will vary from season to season with the weather and all kinds of things. So, yeah. So that's why I always think you should always have electrolytes in your cupboard. If you don't need them, that's great. But if you do need them, you want to have them available. Yeah, Mommy Does Keto says, what happened to giving kids a pencil or a bookmark? Yeah. Yep. Food is so much easier. Drugs. That's what we're talking about. Skittles or drugs. And they're much more powerful than a pencil. Mary KJ says, when I was a kid, rewards from teachers were notebooks and pens. Exactly. Terry says, I was chastised for not handing out candy to my students. They thought I was mean. Oh, man, I'm sorry, but I'm glad that you took a stand and you didn't do it. Good for you. Good for you. That's amazing. Let's see. Yeah, Mommy does keto says, good for you, Terry. And I send in light up rings or stamps for parties. Everyone's go to is always junk. Yeah. hmm Virgo Lady says, I am subscribed and have the notification bell on your channel, but I'm still never notified. YouTube is withholding. YouTube is absolutely withholding. Always the thing with them. I do my best to try to do, the search engine optimization to try to make titles that, draw people and to do all of those things. I don't know. I don't know. I've gotten frustrated with it of late, but I enjoy making this content, and so we'll continue to do it. And Virgo Lady, I recommend you put on your calendar Thursday night, 7 p.m. Just make your own reminder, and you will know to come to my channel and look because you will see it is there if you come on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And yeah. Um, So, Susie, just getting here, joining late, but glad to catch your live. I am so glad you are here as well, Susie. So, we have had a good conversation tonight about what to do, how to make your diet healthier, whether or not you're going to be carnivore. But if you're eating meat, that is a healthy portion of your diet. The more meat that you eat, the more it displaces things that are not healthy. And if you can pull out the worst offenders, you can actually, make some really important gains in your health. And honestly, keto made a big difference for me. I did very well with it. I was able to lose weight. I felt a lot more energetic. I had a lot more clarity of mind. It's just that for me, I was still eating dairy and there are foods that irritate me. So once I took out all of it and went carnivore, it was like, I went from what I thought was the pinnacle to I realized was like the bottom of, Mount Everest, and I could go so much higher. But I didn't know that. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. And I think that's really interesting when I'm coaching people or when I'm, talking to people about coaching. So many have been in so much pain for so long. They've tried so many things. They've had so many people make so many promises and they just don't believe me when I say you can feel so much better and in a short period of time. And so I sometimes they decide they want to continue suffering because they just don't believe me. And I feel, bad. Like, man, I just got to figure out the right words, because you don't need to feel this way. You don't need to suffer. If you are listening to this, if you have IBS or, a lot of digestive stuff, like that stuff can be over in 2 weeks time. Like, it doesn't take a long time. If you stop eating the foods that are irritating you, it will stop. It really will. So, if you've been struggling with, your blood sugars and high blood pressure, if you get on a ketogenic diet, and even better, if you get on a carnivore diet, in 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to see massive change, massive change. So this stuff doesn't have to take a long time. It's, a lot of it is very quick, but you got to start. You got to start, and you got to be all in. It takes, there's definitely a transition that has to happen in the beginning, and so you kind of have to be all in. But once you're in, you can make so much progress. Okay. Let's see. Like and subscribe, everyone. Yes, Terry. Yes. Tell everybody. Tell the world. Come on, people. Like and subscribe, and share with other people. And Truth, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. It just means so much to me. So thanks for another Thursday night. Yes, I love it that I am your Thursday night show, and it's so much fun to spend this time with you and to talk to you guys. I really do enjoy it, and I'm glad that you all were here. Susie says keto helped me too, but animal-based has been better for my skin and gut issues. Absolutely. And Angela, Carnivore, CVK Carnivore, and Rachel, awesome. Oh my gosh, I know you from Instagram. Welcome. Good evening. And off topic, but what is my lipstick? Thank you. It is, I think it's called Flat Out Fabulous from MAC. I got it a long time ago, so I don't know if they're still making this color, but yeah, it's a cool purple color, and I like it. Tried to match my eyeshadow, which I don't know if that was such a good idea, especially with a red t-shirt. I don't know what I was thinking. Okay. And let's see. Virgo Lady says, because of my interview with Ms. Victoria, with Victoria about Dave Feldman's cholesterol hack, I decided to go a week without coffee before my 2 labs in 2 days. It has been rough. Oh my gosh. Yes, I imagine it's rough. So everybody, if you are going to go without coffee, don't do it the hard way and get all that pain. Order yourself some L-tyrosine. It is a couple of, it's like maybe $10 for a bottle. It's not expensive. And L-tyrosine is an amino acid that actually fills the receptors in your brain that caffeine normally fills. So when you don't have your coffee, those receptors cry out, and you get these, horrible headaches, right? From caffeine withdrawal. But if you take the L-tyrosine on an empty stomach before breakfast and an empty stomach before lunch, you will, it'll fill those receptors, and you will not have the pain. And it takes, like you do that for a couple of days, and by day 5, you can cut back, and you won't have any more headache. So it doesn't take much. There's no reason to go through all that pain. Get yourself some L-tyrosine. So I hope that you haven't been experiencing too much pain, Virgo Lady. Let's see. Terry says, me too, Susie. I can't believe how well it cleared up my skin issues and helped my tummy issues. Yeah, there's something about carnivore that is really good for skin and gut issues. So awesome. Audra, so glad you are here. I'm so glad you caught the live. Welcome. And Angela says, I love being here, and we'll be carnivore 2 years in July. Woohoo! Your second carniversary. That's awesome. We got to start celebrating these things. I always forget, and I didn't think to even talk about it or do that in December, but I'm gonna have to make a bigger deal of it. And this year, I am redoing my 50th birthday, because last year kind of sucked. I was by myself here in New York, but This year I am going to have a real birthday, and we're just going to do 50 all over again. We're just skipping 51. Gabriella, thank you. I'm so glad you love this channel. I really appreciate your being here, and this is so much fun for me too. I really do like talking to you, like talking to all of you. And Audra says, can't say enough about this way of eating. Agreed. This is hands down the best way of eating. And when I went out to eat at the restaurant this weekend, I thought that I was gonna that it was going to be a little bit, of a push for me to like not eat, the sides or to be tempted. But honestly, I was not at all tempted at all. Like there was nothing about any of it that was like appealing to me. And, I had potato salad and coleslaw on my plate. Those are two things that I've liked. And, so I don't know, but it just, none of it didn't appeal to me at all. So I think that you will get there. I mean, at a certain point, meat is so good. Like none of those things are as good as meat is. If anything, I should have just ordered another order of pork belly. I did not, but I should have. But yeah, can't say enough. And Terry says, really crave coffee more. Is that bad? Steak, eggs, hamburger, and coffee. Water on the side. Yeah. No, it's not. I don't know. It's not bad. I mean, the coffee wars, they will continue to rage, and I think you just have to figure out for you whether it's a problem. And, I don't know. I mean, I think no one is going to be able to tell you about your body. They can only tell you about their experience, and you have to test this stuff out. And honestly, I pushed back on testing dairy for a long while, and I just kept saying, oh, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. And then lo and behold, my asthma goes away. I mean, that was such a huge game changing change to my body that I have to say, like, you have to test everything. You cannot assume how you are going to respond to, to a food item or how you're going to respond to removing it. You just have to test it. Doesn't mean you have to stick with it. And even if you discover you do feel better without it, that doesn't mean you have to stay without it. You could decide, I don't mind feeling 10 or 15% worse because I like this. I like having my cup of coffee. And that's fine too. It's totally your choice because the whole point of this is to feel better and to, and have the lifestyle that you want. So, it's okay. So, Terry, test the coffee and then, you don't decide what you want to do. You don't have to take it out. But get the L-tyrosine because that really does help a lot. And the L-tyrosine does kind of give you a wake feeling. It doesn't quite hit the way caffeine does, but it does have a little kind of like a boost to it. So you will feel something with it. Angela, thank you. Happy Carniversary for December. Yes, yes. And Heather, you keep the water on the side as well. Yeah, yeah. So Heather says my tastes have changed. I'm able to eat more meat, most meat with just salt and pepper these days, and I'm completely happy with that. And Mommy Does Keto says I have a cup of coffee every morning, and no one is taking that away from me. First sip is heaven. Okay, no worries. The coffee wars, they continue. And Carrie L says, haha, I thought I would get bored of steak after a while, but I find that I think about my steak I will have after work. Yeah, it takes a while to get bored of any kind of meat. Yeah, it's taken me weeks, maybe weeks. So, and then one night off, and it's like, oh, ground beef is fresh and new again. Okay, let's see. Mommy Does Keto says, yes, Audra, I'm picturing you with a stack of Tupperware filled with yummy meats. Um, oh, Audra's been on the road working and packing meat. Nice, yes. So I guess Audra has not been making her corned beef and all of that kind of stuff. So that is interesting. But yeah, packing your meat and going on the road is that's not a bad thing to do. And again, you can there are certain devices that you can buy that make it easy. So, did you know that there are lunch boxes that you can plug into the cigarette lighter or USB in the car, and it will heat up your lunch so it's hot by lunchtime, or coolers so that will keep it cold. And that's something you can just leave in the car. So if you were worried about like how you handle lunch, like it's easy enough to really have a nice little setup in the car, make it easy, and you stay on track, and you do good even when you're on the road, even when you're not in an ideal physical circumstance. So yeah. Virgo lady says the first thing I drink after the labs will be coffee. All right. All right. Fair enough. Totally get it. Uh, wow. Audra is packing steak, lamb, shrimps, and scallop, all the tasty meats. Definitely jealous. Nice. So, all right, folks. Oh, Terry says, I've been carnivore keto for 4 months now. I've lost 25 pounds and I was wanting to lose. In the beginning, I could eat chicken and pork, but now I crave beef and fried fat and eggs. Yep, nothing wrong with that. That sounds absolutely perfect to me. You are doing great, and I love to hear that you've lost 25 pounds. You're sticking with it, and it sounds like you're ready to keep going. So excellent, Terry. And Esther, hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm trying to step up my makeup and lashes game. So I hope you all like it. I been having a lot of fun with it, and yeah, it's good stuff. All right, guys. So it was really fun tonight, and I hope you got some good information about this. And oh, Audra, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Again, it means so much to me when you guys support this content, and you look to make sure that we can provide, great free inspirational content for everybody who needs this, because I think carnivore is so, so helpful for so many people, and we just got to get the word out there and to help people figure out how to incorporate it into their lives. So we have had a great conversation tonight, and I look forward to talking again. So uh, it might be that there is no, um, my interview schedule got a little bit messed up, so I'm not sure what's happening on Tuesday, but hopefully I'll figure out something. I'll put out some kind of video, and then I'll be back on Thursday. And I hope you all have a great weekend, that you all had a great Mother's Day, and I will see you all soon. Have a great night, everybody. Bye bye.